gonna pow pow right into our studies to dizzle. So yeah, let me know if the music's too loud or if it's just right. I like when it's just right. Alright, so I find that with mouths, like I'm like great with cartoon mouths and things like that. Like that's fine. But when we start to get into like perspective and like things like of that nature, you know, we start to have like little teeth in there, you know, I start to struggle just a little bit. And I would like to not do that. So that's why today we're gonna spend some time focusing on just this. Because I know there's some like tips and tricks we can kind of think about. We can kind of think about like a little bit of a like a Muppet mouth, like so to speak. You know, we can kind of do things like this. But we're gonna find some good studies, some good things to do. Because it's like there's that, and then there's also like flippin' flappin' whatchamacallit, like, you know, I'm not really trying to think about like the individual teeth or anything, you know, but it's also like the lips, so it's like that's another thing. Like I can get that lower lip. The lower lip is the easy one, but it's that juicy upper lip that sometimes, you know, gives me a little bit of the struggle. Because like I think the struggle with art is like the simplification, because you want to keep things like simple enough to like look indicated and like understandable, but like not be the focus of, you know, what you're drawing. And I like, you know, I need to practice lips because there's a nice, when they look nice, they look really nice, and when they don't look nice, they look cartoony. And you don't, again, you don't want them to look cartoony when that's not like the goal. Like if I'm drawing like little shoujo chan, you know, I can really get away with like doing very minimal, like, oh, I'm drawing shoujo chan, she just has, you know, very, very like minimal indication of anything. Woo. There's Shoujo-chan. She's got like a little cute haircut, little bob. Maybe like a little bow in her hair. She would. But like if I'm drawing Shoujo-chan, that's like one thing. If I'm drawing, actually, you know, I wanna like make her forms like kind of make some sense, you know, because I'm still thinking about it dimensionally. So I'm not just like kind of drawing a doodle. I'm still challenging myself to think dimensionally, because whenever you just draw little doodles and you just do that for too long, you are gonna get in your own way. Better to just treat everything like you wanna draw it dimensionally and nicely. And see, Shoujo-chan, that's all she needs. She doesn't need upper teeth. If she wanted, she could have them. But like if I'm drawing like see, and her, the thing is the proportions are so delicate with the shoujo characters. That's the other thing too. It's like you think that it's like bam bam bam, but really like they're quite delicate. So you need a light touch with the features. Chop. Alright. But you know, if I'm drawing like, let's say like somebody a little more realistic, like let's say I'm drawing like just gonna try and indicate. Like, I want to draw Ada Wong, you know? I'm like, oh yeah, I want to draw Ada Wong. She's... You know, she's gonna have different proportions, number one. I can still stylize her and make her cartoony in some regards, but like... It's gotta be really delicate in different ways from Shoujo-chan. It's like, she's gonna have her... kind of brows a little more up. And so when we get to features like the nose and the mouth, that's when it starts to get dicey. Because like eyes, it's... I don't know, it's like... it's easy to make pretty eyes, you know? You just... eye, lashes, ooh, pretty. But when we get to forms like the nose and the mouth, it's like, you know, keeping it more delicate is gonna be like just the key. And it's like, you know, how big is the nose? How small is the nose? Then we get to the mouth, like, that's also gonna be, you know, key. It's like... And I'm not saying this is like the best like Ada Wong. I don't really draw her that much, so it's like... I'm just not really sure like what to do with her, but... You know, the one thing you can do to fudge like lips is like if they're wearing lipstick, you can always just like make a darker, make a little like, you know, little circle, and then like kind of like make a little tail on it. Like that's one way to fudge lips. But I don't want to fudge them. I want to like actually have master and controlled so I can like not just have like one angle that I'm comfortable with. I think that's like, again, that's like kind of a trap that everyone kind of, a lot of people fall into. I want her to look a little bit more like, yeah, a little bit more over it, you know, just a little bit more like, there we go. A little more sassy. She is sassy. She's a little sass basket. There we go. So it's like, these features need to be so delicately handled when you're going for beauty. That's like really, I guess that's like my takeaway. So, you know, when we have like mouths opening up, it's like, you know, if we wanted her mouth open, it's like there's certain like measurements and proportions we can keep in mind, but like how do her lips kind of stretch and distort, because they're not going to be like this, you know, with that little mouth. They're going to be like kind of more stretched. And again, when they wear lipstick, like it's easy to fudge, but like what if it's like, what if you don't have that luxury of the character wearing lipstick? You know, you're not going to just give them lipstick when they don't wear lipstick. Because, you know, you want to avoid them looking like they have a mustache. Like, that's halfway decent, you know. Maybe we get a little tooth to show, like, the inside of the mouth. You know, but, like, what if we have, like, Leon, you know, and I want him to look pretty. He's my pretty man. Because Leon's got luscious lips. And he knows it. See, I don't have to worry as much about the nose looking like, you know, more masculine. I don't have to be as delicate with his nose because he is masculine. So him having, you know, more detail to his nose area, like, that's fine. Like, that's okay. But, like, what if I want him to, like, have, like, you know... Because I just don't want to, like, just always be relegated to, like, a kind of cartoon simplification, you know? It's like, the more mastery and control we have, the more that, like, you know, we can just utilize this, like, everywhere. I mean, because like you have his mouth closed, you can imagine like his teeth are gonna be kind of like that. You can, with the teeth too, it's like you don't want to just go like line across the teeth. You want to kind of like indicate that the teeth are touching, but maybe like leave white space. It's all about what you omit when you're like kind of drawing beauty and what you're indicating. So that's kind of the trick. So that's what we're gonna focus on today. It's like, this is all right, you know, we can give him a little bit of this, but we can't give her that. If we give her that, it's like with women, it's like it shows age, you know, a little bit more. So it's like, I don't know, and I feel like that's sexist. It's like, you don't want to make them look old, but it's like, it's a delicate thing, you know. It's like there's a delicateness. We want Leon to like have a sort of rugged feel, which is like why I like to give him like little eye bags, like he's seen too much, because he has. I feel like there's something like appealing about that for him. For Ada, she's supposed to look like a cool cucumber, so we don't want to give her like any kind of indication that she's like world weary, except for her expression maybe. So it's like a characterization thing too, you know. I mean, if we want Shoujo-chan to be like, I've like seen too much, we can go for that look too. We can go for like a little more crispy Shoujo-chan with her eyes. You would maybe want to like make her mouth a little like more like crispy Shoujo-chan, maybe like that. Maybe like also like, you know, just half-lidded eyes. And there's appeal to that, you know, it just depends on the character. I've seen too much. Crispy Shoujo-chan. We gotta make her hair a little messier. Just a little bit. Anyway. Me in the morning though. So yeah, so these are the things that we think about. But I'm not like really thinking about Leon's lips right here. I kind of just made that look a little like stylized, so I fudged it. I think that, you know, one can fudge. Does one always want to fudge? But if I want him to have sexy lips, what if I want him to have like, you know, just... I'll have his mouth open just a little bit. Okay, the lower lip, that's fine. Yeah, that's a little too wide of a chin for his mouth being closed. I like to make my Leons a little more like... I like to make him like a cross between the original and the remake. Personally, that's my personal taste. But it's like these lips up top, you know, you don't want him to look like he's got lipstick. But you want him to like feel juicy. So we're gonna come back to this because like you now see me biffing it. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. All of my years have not prepared me for exactly this. Like, this isn't working for me. So, you know, that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna like figure out like how, because like I can always like give him like a darker upper lip and fudge it kind of like with Ada. And if I don't make it too juicy, it won't look like lipstick. But, you know, these are our goals. These are today's goals. Juicy, sexy Leon lips. And for everyone else, you know, if we can draw sexy man lips, we can draw sexy lips for everyone, because sexy woman lips are infinitely easier because they're more exaggerated. That's the real trick of it. So let me get his proportions a little more correct for him. His nose isn't that long. He's gonna have a little bit more of like that. You know, we want him to... I want him to be a certain way. There you go. Alright. Cool. Anyway, So now I'm gonna move on to like actually doing what we agreed on doing. To dizzle. Or shizzle. Yeah, I can include the other side of the nose. But yeah, the nose is like another thing we're gonna do another day. We started kind of doing like shoujo noses the other day, but you know what's nice about shoujo noses is like they kind of inform the eyes a lot, so it's like we can kind of like make a little like butterfly eye mask, kind of like how I was talking. So we can like draw our eyes like that and then have a space for our eyes, even if we have a 3/4 view. It starts looking like Sonic the Hedgehog, but honestly, if you can draw Sonic the Hedgehog, that'll probably help you draw a million other characters, so yeah. Wonderful. Alright, cool. So, let us begin. Let us begin. Right. Okay, new layer. Alright. So, I'm actually gonna start today off. We're not gonna do some gesture drawing. We're gonna draw boxes. And I'm gonna try and make them like more rectangular boxes. Because we're gonna, well, no, I'll just make them boxes. It don't matter. Don't matter none. I'll just keep that in mind, what I'm doing. Because what we're gonna do instead of doing our figures, we're gonna take our boxes and we're gonna use them to the end of what our intention is for this session. So yeah, if anyone wants to draw along with me, please do. If anyone has questions, please ask them. I'm gonna like lock into some boxes for a bit. The boxes, you just always want to like make sure that the edges are tapering back in space. I mean, I think that most of these edges are looking all right, but it's like they're going to taper down, they're going to taper to the side, they're going to taper to the other side, and I guess they'll taper. Nah, I mean, it depends on what the perspective is, but we're doing 3-point. And we're maybe gonna like make it a little fisheye, 'cause that's the truest to like real life. I was reading this perspective book that was really great. I think it's called Space Drawing by Dong Young Kim. Oh my god, it's so good. It's the first perspective book that I found where he's talking about 1-point perspective and 2-point perspective, and namely with 1-point perspective, he was talking about how, like, you know, it's good for certain purposes, but it distorts things just inherently by it being so restricted and limited to what it is. And I just felt so, like, vindicated, because I think that was, like, something that I felt like I wasn't understanding, like, in my younger years, especially, like, doing perspective and doing drawing. Because, like, I thought, like, am I not getting something right? Because whenever I do 1-point perspective, like, I'm always kind of fighting some weird distortion that happens. And it's like, no, it just inherently distorts objects because it exists in a technical sense and in some sort of visual senses sometimes. But, like, we see everything like a mirror ball. And so, like, truly it's more of like a technical way of kind of showing perspective front and back from one dimension. And so I just felt like so vindicated. I was like, oh, thank God I'm not the crazy one here. This perspective does incorrectly show how things sit in space. Oh my God. And 2-point perspective to a lesser degree. I'm just like, oh, thank God. I'm vindicated finally. I can move on with my life. It's a great book. Like, he has some rules of perspective that are just so good. Like, I'm like thinking about them as I'm drawing this perspective. It's like not so far off from what I kind of figured drawing these box exercises. Like, I started doing this because I can't remember the name of the channel. I don't know if this guy still makes videos, but there's this dude on YouTube who's like a programmer, and then he wanted to just like be an artist, so he quit his programming job and like developed like all these like self-study methods and shared them on YouTube. And he just had like some take on this exercise that finally clicked with me, because this is not like a revolutionary exercise. Like drawing boxes in space is definitely like very common. But there's just something about the way he explained it that like made me realize like just how beneficial it would be for me. And also I like to think of it like I'm not drawing on a blank canvas, but I'm drawing like in a 3-dimensional space. Like if you think about like Maya or a CG program, like a modeling program, like a Cinema 4D or something. Like that's what I like to kind of think that I'm drawing within. I just can't see the grid, you know? Yeah, we're not doing cylinders right now. The boxes are going to be instrumental to our later practice, so... Yeah, the longer you go on, it just becomes so key to develop your own self-study methods. Because, like, you know, not to the end of get good or having to get better, but just to the end of, like, hey, I want to, like, draw this thing and enjoy it. So let me, like, learn how to do that. Let me not think that I need some sort of class or instructor, because there's so many resources to use. It's like, might as well see what's out there and learn how to like actually just study on your own. I think in some ways, like, art school taught me how to self-study, but, like, also not really. In some ways, it's like I can replicate what my assignments were and use them for self-study, but I think a lot of it was, like, from other people who learned self-study on the internet and from necessity with, like, my job at the time. Like, I just had to learn a lot of stuff at my old job. There's nobody to teach me. Which I think sometimes, you know, that's good. Sometimes self-taught artists like just have a better idea about one thing or another, and sometimes self-taught artists have a terrible idea about one thing or another. That's the gamble. So yeah, I'm just like kind of rotating them willy-nilly. You You know, just really trying to rotate the box in like all of the different ways that I can. It's really important to like not just stick to one way of like rotating them. Okay. Hey, hello you. Let's see, basic strokes, clean shapes, basic shapes, clean strokes. I think if you're new to animation and you're comfortable with basic shapes, I think that's a great question. You know, where should you go next? Well, I'm gonna kind of give you my spiel, but what kind of stuff do you want to like animate? So you can answer while I'm like kind of giving my answers. So I think that if you're comfortable with like basic shapes and like, you know, drawing, making the strokes on the page, like that's fantastic because that's like the fundamental foundation to doing anything. So that's great. I would say you have kind of two options. You can really start focusing on either like the animation itself, so how things move. There's a couple of great exercises to do that. You can do the dot exercise. I love the dot exercise. I can kind of show you a little example of that. And then there's also practicing follow through. Of course, you can practice bouncing balls and like, you know, pendulums, because everything is a bouncing ball and a pendulum really at the end of the day. Just like, you know, when you're drawing, everything's a box. It always goes back to cubes. It always goes back to the foundation. But sure, create video timeline. But you know, practicing animation is more about how things move. So it's like what I like about like the dot exercise, for example. Let me just get my little menu in here. Cool. So this exercise is essentially where you make a dot, and then let me get my timeline shortcut keys. Oh, okay, that's there. Okay, good. And then you let me put my we got a dot. Okay. It's easier to do in another program. I'm gonna open up another program. It is a thankless job doing animation in whatchamacallit. In animate. Oh wait, I'm opened up After Effects on it. It's cool. So you can practice like movement exercises like you know, this dot exercise I'm talking about, where essentially you just draw a dot frame by frame by frame. Why do I keep opening After Effects? Please, I want animate. They look exactly the same. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Or you can practice follow through. So like, you know, have a little ball and a tail. Practice like the S curve, kind of like wagging back and forth. You know, because when we have S curves and C curves, you'll have a C curve moving this way, then it changes direction, and then it kind of overtakes until it turns back into another C curve, and then it starts to be pushed up from the connection point, and then it turns back into a S curve again, or C curve again. It's just oscillating C curves and S curves. So like in the vein of like mark making, you know, that's what you can do. So I would say like doing stuff like that, you know, ball bounces. Ball bounces are like great for like timing, because then you're thinking about arcs, you know, you're thinking about squash, thinking about stretch, you're thinking about, you know, things kind of getting closer and farther away from each other. Like the whole illusion of animation lies in like the spacing of your frames. So like you know, this will feel slow because they're closer together. This will feel fast because they're farther apart. With that dot exercise I was talking about, you know, it's all about kind of figuring out that fast and that slow. So like if I'm... oh, I see. I see what's happening here. Let's remove frames. There we go. Okay. So if I'm like here, I mean, there's no current frame to draw into. Oh gosh. Okay. I should have opened up Harmony. Okay, so you'll see here, I'm like kind of keeping them relatively in the same area, but I'm making them bigger. This is gonna give me the illusion that this is coming towards me. But now if I like start to move it farther apart, and I can even stretch it, I create this like illusion almost of like, it's moving so fast that like, where was it? That is like maybe smearing me, then it's now slowing down again. Okay, I get it. So if I play that back, you know, you can see by making things closer, farther apart, they're fast. By making them bigger, smaller, you create the illusion of space. So I have it coming closer and then whipping back. Gets bigger and then smaller. Again, that depth. We're creating depth. We're creating speed. So it's really a great universal exercise for all of that. And then, you know, follow through is like, you know, you have a connection point. All follow through is going to have a connection point. And you like wag something back and forth. You know, you have it here. Then maybe you have it. I should have opened Harmony up. Silly me, I'm like, Adobe Animate will be easy. So like if I have this kind of wagging going on here, like let's say I got this, you know, then I can like how do I get rid of these? Remove these, yeah. Let's give this more time. So like if I have this like kind of back and forth thing going, then I can practice follow through, and that's just gonna be like some drag essentially. So that's gonna, then I can like add on to it. I can like make a, let's make this bigger just so you can see it. So it's like I can have, you know, this maybe kind of like being dragged back the other way, because I'm like kind of keeping in mind that my follow through is moving this way. And then will be dragged back the other way. And then back this way. And then I get this like, woo, woo, woo. You know, so that drag is going this way, and then this is going the other way. Then on top of that, I can like make another layer. So I can have several layers of like follow through happening here. So this is how I'd practice like some follow through, because this is good stuff. It's good stuff to like be comfortable with, because it's like the movement and then it's like the dragging elements. So I can like come in here. Where's my brush? So it's gonna drag even more. And that's gonna then start to air back on the side of that other one. And then that's gonna come like this. So then we get like a woo. Yeah, actually, it's gonna go the other way. Yeah. And then that's going there. Yeah. So we get some drag, and you can kind of see we're already getting like some C-curve action when the full force of the momentum is going this way. Excuse me. It's going this way. You know, the full momentum is going that way. Then when it's changing direction, you know, we get the top of it still following through, and then we get the whole thing going back in the other direction. And then as it changes direction, this is still going. So, you know, those are great to practice so that you have that option. Now, the other thing, if you want to practice solid drawing, that's like a whole other side of it. So if you want to practice the actual animation skill, then totally do what I said. But if you want to practice like how to turn forms in space, kind of a little like what I'm doing honestly with this exercise, then you will want to practice rotating forms in space. So like, you know, you can draw guidelines and like rotate a box around. That's always a good exercise. You could have a character and you could like, you know, draw, maybe find a simple cartoon character to start off with. It's like more just a ball, you know, with some like eyes and like maybe a little like, you know, figure out the actual shapes that make up the character, and then like do like a turnaround of that character. You know, use guidelines a lot to like help you kind of stay consistent, you know, with that turnaround. But that will like really help you to develop your drawing skill. Also a nice thing when like doing character turnarounds is like using top-down guides can be helpful, because like you can, excuse me. Like see, like if I have kind of a little like top-down view of my guy, you can see his arms go out like this, so I'm always gonna know like if I turn him and he's going like this, like in the 3/4 view, I know that if I draw him like that, yeah, that's gonna then line up here, and that's gonna then line up here. So like his arms are gonna go out to there. So, you know, stuff like that is really like helpful with these kind of things. I can figure out like his legs are like here and here. This is a little wonky, so but yeah, so you can either practice solid drawing, which is turning forms in space, or you can practice the actual animation itself using the dot exercise to practice fast and slow, or, you know, follow through exercises to understand how drag and momentum works. So that's my short answer. Just get comfortable with any software. Just any software. It doesn't matter. Whatever your software of choice is, get comfortable with it, and that's how you start. That's great you've done dot exercises. Like, they're so fundamental. So, like, keep doing them. But, like, I learned to animate with Adobe Animate. And I learned to animate with it in, like, a night. Because I was, like, getting an animation job. And I needed to take a test. And I didn't know Animate. And, so I was able to learn it in a night because it is such a simple program. And so I really like Adobe Animate for its simplicity. I think it's like it was great because I could then like take my animation and then use it in conjunction with like Photoshop to like do my line work in color and then bring it into After Effects. I still use After Effects though. But nowadays I do not open up Adobe Animate anymore because for a few reasons, partially because my my job like wants me to teach Toon Boom Harmony, and because once I learn Toon Boom Harmony, I just don't want to go back to Animate, because Harmony is just like pretty much everything you could want in an animation software, except it just doesn't like, you know, cover the bases that After Effects covers, so I still use After Effects, but that's okay. For like animation, it's like so good. It just gives me what I want, and I'm so happy with it. I never want to go back. I can never unsee what I've seen. But that said, I used Adobe Animate for like 8 years, happily. I made a lot of great work in Animate. I really, you know, so I made it work, even though the brush is poopy. I do all my cleanup in Photoshop and stuff like that. But yeah, that said, I loved it. And you know, Krita has animation capabilities, and Krita's free. So there's that. Photoshop does have animation capabilities, but to properly like not want to just have a conniption, you kind of need to get like plugins to help you like navigate the menus. But yeah, I think whatever you're comfortable in, just use it, honestly. Like if you like Procreate, use Procreate. You can always learn another program, but when you're learning animation, you're learning animation. So just like get good with the tool that you're wanting to get good or wanting to learn with. Whatever tool's accessible to you. You know, it's like saying like, it's the thought of like, I need to have the specific brush that so-and-so uses to be able to paint the Mona Lisa. You know, you don't need Da Vinci's brush to paint the Mona Lisa. You just need, you know, your little Rose Art Crayola crayon thing. And I mean, you know, maybe it's not going to look great on the page, but you're going to start somewhere, you know. You don't need the tools to be able to make the thing, because the thing was not made because of the tools. The thing was made because of the knowledge that went into, you know, the strokes and everything. So every tool is a good tool, you know, when you're learning. Just not Photoshop, because it's just like hard to use. Find a tool that's easy to use. Photoshop's not easy to use. Photoshop's like clunky as all heck. So there's that too. I don't know how clunky Krita is. I haven't used it too much. Like I helped a friend clean up an animation in Krita, and it was okay. I like it for painting. I love it for painting. Though I still do find myself coming back to Photoshop for like drawing. I think I like drawing in Photoshop more. Painting in Krita more. I don't know. It's whatever you get comfortable with. Okay, so books and videos. What's helped me? Well, I mean, the Animator Survival Kit is like the best book you can get. That's the Richard Williams book. It's the Bible of animation. So start there. You know, that's a juicy nugget. I have like 3 copies of that book that I read periodically, because every time I read it, I feel like I get something new out of it. So definitely start there. There's a lot of really great animation YouTube channels. So I would look up just to see on YouTube which channels like kind of help you glean the things you're looking to glean, because I think that there's a lot of teachers on YouTube, and each one of them kind of has their own like specific way of explaining things. So I would kind of like type in your specific question to YouTube and just see what comes up, and just see like which people resonate most with you, because it's hard for me to recommend just one channel, because I think that I kind of hop from person to person. Like sometimes some things speak to me, sometimes other things speak to me. it's like, it depends on what the question is. Like, I feel like timing charts is a great example, because like timing charts are one of those things where like they're really confusing until they're not, and a lot of people have different ways of explaining them, so that sort of helps and that sort of doesn't help sometimes. So yeah, I would say, you know, start there. I mean, like, there's like Taniko Pantoja, he's great. Aaron Blaze has like fantastic stuff. Even I think Worthy Kids has a great blender tutorial on like using the grease pencil. You know, I think Marco Bucci, there's a lot of really great animators. So I think like just kind of, and there's a lot that I'm like not even remembering the names of their channels because I get YouTube just serving me up like so much that I check out. So yeah, definitely use that as a resource because YouTube's a fantastic resource. Yeah, that's good. Oh, the other thing that I would suggest doing, hands down, the best thing that you could ever possibly do, in my opinion, just universally, it's like in the way of like kettlebell being like the kind of full body workout, and you'll kind of work everything out by doing kettlebell exercises. Similarly, figure drawing, gesture drawing. Gesture drawing is like your best friend. I have a lot of definitely check out my YouTube because I have just a lot of like, not, I will have more because honestly I can't stop talking about figure drawing. Every time I get on a figure drawing tear, a gesture drawing tear, I like don't shut up. So and I will never. So I do have some really good resources about gesture drawing on my YouTube where I explain like the line of action and rhythms and things like that. So check that out because like that's so fundamental. Like having figure drawing skills is like it's just gonna like create the life. So it's like there's like kind of 3 counts of like what you need to like get good at animation. Solid drawing skills so you can move forms in space, knowing how movement happens, so like how to convey movement, really knowing how to convey fast and slow and near and far and drag and things like that. That's important to know how to convey like movement itself, and then how and why things move. I think gesture drawing really answers that question of like how and why do things move. You know, it's like why does the pose, like they stand like this, and like, you know, when they want to move, like why would they move like that, you know, when they like want to like bend down and look at something, you know, like why would they do that? Like what drives the kind of like connections in the body, what drives the motion of the body, you know, you can really kind of understand that through figure drawing. So it's really great to like to do, because again, mechanics are like, you know, because you can make something move, but if it mechanically doesn't make sense, then it's not gonna really be believable. So it's like those mechanics of like, you know, why it moves the way it moves, like that's gonna be so paramount. And then the acting, you know, so it's like if you know why the body has to like balance in a certain way, then, you know, you'll be able to like keep that in mind while you have the character like act and like be like, oh, I'm looking over here, then I'm looking over there, whoa, what's going on, you know? But you can have that be believable from all counts. So yeah, because you're conveying a performance, like at the end of the day, the point of it is performance. So yeah. Oh my gosh, the gospel of animation. This is why I'm an animation teacher. It's like you get me on a tear and I cannot stop. All right, so we have our boxes. I think I have enough boxes. I'm kind of done with drawing boxes right this second. So We're gonna use them. We're gonna use them to our advantage. So first off, let me look at this Will Weston stuff. Let me see what's going on here. What kind of mouth stuff he's got. Yes, I know I'm not logged in. I'm gonna fix it after. So this is a lot of... Okay, there's a lot of that. What's in here? It's not what I'm looking for necessarily. Okay. Cool, cool. I'm gonna open this one in a new tab. Yes. I'm gonna just see, like, drawing. Wait. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one, yes. No. No. There's always, like, a lot of great resources on Pinterest, so always, like, look to Pinterest. I got logged out and I couldn't figure out my login. I didn't realize it was logged out. Like, right before the stream, I opened it up and I couldn't get in there, so I couldn't find my drawing references board. Well, actually, wait. No. No, am I perplexed? Not perplexity. That's not, no, it's, you know, my high school names. Alright. That's fine. It's okay. Like, can I just find my username? Okay, we're just gonna stick with Will Weston. He's great. I have some morpho references here too. Hands and mouths. Oh great, I opened it right up to the page that I needed. Wonderful. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Hello, James the cat boy. Oh, I'm glad you saw my gesture streams too. I just go into the line of action ad nauseum. So I hope that any of that was helpful. If you have questions, let me know about it. Ayu. Yeah, Toniko and Marco both have really great stuff. Okay, so we're having more of like a mouth and lip focus today. Those chompers. So we're going to be utilizing these boxes that we drew for our benefit. So I'm gonna first start off with I know I'm signed out. I'm just gonna start off with like looking at some of these studies. So we're gonna do some of this in the corner. Then we're gonna integrate this into some heads. Start at the beginning. It's a good place to start. Let me open this image in a new tab so I can just make it my own size. Oh, I see. It's not letting me. Oh, Pinterest. You funny Pinterest. Whatever, this will do. Okay, so yeah, so I've done a bit of this before with the, like, kind of like the B shape or the heart. It's almost like, you know, heart with a line through it. Yeah, it's like you can make it more heart, more open, and then, you know, less. Kind of think about it like that. It does kind of help in a way, actually. But it's like, it's one of these things where it's like, you kind of want to keep track of where your center line is. So these ball exercises, like, they're okay. They're kind of tricky in a way, like, because of the way it's stylized. But it's a good start to, like, kind of get a sense of, you know, this. I guess what I just kind of have a little trouble with is, like, you know, maybe if we, like, make the mouth into its own, like, Loomis ball. I don't love Loomis ball heads, personally. They're not terrible, though. They're okay. But, like, if we kind of think more like this, where it's like, okay, we have... You know, maybe that's... Waka waka. I feel like this is a Muppet mouth. We're getting into, like, Muppet mouth territory really quick. Draw the mouth a little differently on each side. Maybe the most important thing that we can do is to just make sure that the top teeth are grounded. I think maybe that's gonna, like, help us out. That's gonna be, like, the key. Whenever I say things like that, I think about, like... whenever I say this is the key, I think about, like, George Lucas talking about Jar Jar. Jar Jar's the key to all this. The top teeth are the key to all this. I don't know if you guys have seen, like, the Star Wars behind the scenes from, like, forever ago. There's just a really funny George Lucas quote. It's just, like, talking like he's, like, discovered the secrets of the Matrix. Jar Jar's the key. So the thing is with the mouth, like, it is a muzzle, like... And we do see this kind of, like, all these kind of, like, pillowy lip shapes. So we have this, like, shape kind of coming out, like... So, if we can imagine, like, there's just, like, one big pillow, maybe. Maybe this is like that. Let's erase a little bit so we can kind of see it. So if I imagine that there's, like, an indentation here in this pillow, and then, like, maybe a little lumpiness on either side of the pillow. Yeah, that's helping. It's a little bit luscious. I guess it's like this little third pillow is not what he's accounting for here. And there's, you know, usually some sort of, like... They usually kind of indicate it, like, with a 3-pillow method, I see. But... I don't know, let me look at the Morphos stuff, because I feel like the Morphos stuff that I'm looking at in front of me... I don't have an ebook of it, or I'd put it on the screen. You know, this is kind of... It's starting to give. We, like, take this away, we can kind of see, like, yeah, that's giving juicy lips. Juicy lipitude. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I feel ya. I think it's important to... I know, it's easy to get overwhelmed. I totally feel ya. It's easy to get overwhelmed. You know, the thing is, at the end of the day, like, anatomy is gonna help you to understand why things fit together the way they do and how things move, but it's always going to be made up of like basic forms. So the more that you practice, you know, just cylinders and boxes, and, you know, maybe like even I like to practice like putting boxes like together in kind of a figure sort of format, so I can understand like the relative kind of like the relativity between the forms, the relationship in space that these forms would have with one another. That helps a lot. So it's like I can get a cylinder in here. Making cylinder box people is like a really handy like thing you can do. So I would suggest like really starting there and not overwhelming yourself. The thing is with these exercises, you want to just do them consistently. You don't want to try and just, it's like at the gym, you know, think of it like going to the gym. You're not going to go to the gym and then like try and just go for lifting 100 pounds. You're not going to be like, I need to get in here and I need to just like in one day work my way up to lifting 100 pounds. Like, you can't do it. It's not physically possible to do. You should definitely not do that because you're going to hurt yourself. And fortunately, we're not going to hurt ourselves with making art, but we will get overwhelmed and feel discouraged because our brains learn at the pace that they learn. And when you're building a foundation, like building a foundation of a house, you just lay down the bricks and you lay down the concrete, and that first foundational part of it where you're just building it all up, it takes the longest, but that makes your house strong and able to stand when you actually have your house. So think about it like when you're building your foundation, you know, slow and steady. And with any of these exercises, like this box exercise, I don't recommend doing it for more than 10 minutes a day. Like, do it for 5 minutes, set a timer, 5 minutes every day, like draw boxes or cylinders or whatever, and you will see progress in like a week, a month. You will see like your skill level up. So it's not about just trying to do it until you get it. It's just consistently doing a little bit. And it's the same with studying anything. So with studying anatomy, do that the same way. So just, yeah, combating the overwhelm. There's so much to learn. I know, I get it. But just a little bit at a time. You don't need to learn everything all at once. And then you're gonna find that like that foundation just supports you in learning everything. It's like, because I know how cylinders work, like I know that when I draw like muscles and anatomy, like I know how that fits into the cylinder, you know, so I know how to like create that dimensional feeling. But it's only because I'm like learning how to move those cylinders in space, you know. So that's, or like wrapping clothing around it, you know. I know how the clothing wraps around it because I know how that volume feels. Not even the muscles. I know like kind of how the muscles wrap. But, you know, you're gonna find that like just doing a little bit of consistent practice goes such a long way. Like, trust me, like even if you do like just a little bit of figure drawing, like for figure drawing, like sometimes I go and do it every day. Sometimes I do it, you know, like a 20-15 minute session like every other day, every few days. Like for me, I do it consistently enough that I don't really worry about when I do it. But you know, when you're starting out, just like 45 seconds a pose. You know, there's a lot of websites. I use quickposes.com. Quick Poses is great. And you do that little 45-second poses. You do that once a day, every other day, even once a week, although that's just going to take you a little bit longer to see results. You know, you're going to see results though. That's the thing. So that's the key to practicing, is to not try and do it all at once. And then you'll be good. Then you'll be like feeling really great when you see that level up, or when you draw that thing and it was like less hard than you thought it was. You're gonna be like, whoa, that wasn't so crazy. And it's like, nope. And that's because you You know, you gave yourself the space to be a human being and learn at your own pace. And you're just gonna have fun. So trust me. Like, if you're getting sleepy, it's because you're trying to do too much at once. Okay, so I'm looking at some of this, like, stuff in this, Morpho book, as you can see. I'm doing some of these studies right this second. We're gonna draw some faces in a minute, though, because there's only so much longer I can stream for today. I know we did get a little bit of a late start, but this is a great start, though, for faces, and I feel like we kind of went into a lot of other good topics, too, so I'm very pleased. I'm pleased with what we did. I kind of like this method of, like, making this shape and then using that as our upper lip thingy instead of doing the pillows, because we can do the pillows, but this actually is kind of nice. We will draw luscious lips. And everyone's got different lips. I'm just kind of drawing just generic lips like this, but there's people that have lips that are more like, there's not as much of a Cupid's bow. Woo! Too zoomed in. Less of a Cupid's bow. A huge Cupid's bow. Really goes, like, every way. So. Very, very thin lips. Or you probably wouldn't even indicate it in a drawing unless you're, like, painting it or something. Or they were wearing, like, some lipstick. Or, like, then, like, juicy, just luscious, like, their whole face is, like, lips. You know, so we can go to all the extremes here. Alright, let's draw some faces. Just gonna go for it. So what I like about these box exercises is, like, I can just think about a sphere inside my box and just go for, like, drawing faces. And sometimes I like to... Well, I want to remember, too, from the side, the skull's a little oblong-y, so I'm gonna, like, kind of bring my jawline a little closer to the front so we can have that nice oblong. Sometimes I like to, like, have different kinds of faces, and sometimes I like to draw the same face, so we're just gonna kind of play it by ear, use this as our, like, kind of control exercise. My nose will be there. My lips. You want the lips to line up with the jaw, typically. You'll see on me, there's, like, always, like, a kind of nice, like the jaw's like that. It's like a line connection between that jaw. On any kind of character. I think, like, with anatomy, it's learning things like that, so that way you know how to correctly place things, you know, and that's just a case of, like, understanding, like, how the skull and jaw, like, hinge and work together. So... No, not yet. No, not yet. I'll put those over here. So, I'm gonna just go for it, you know. I'm not gonna get too precious with these. I'm already getting a little too precious. The nice thing about the boxes, though, is, like, we can really kind of see the perspective of what's happening. So gonna have an eyeline there. So I'm gonna imagine like there's a neck over here. Needs to come out more. Not gonna draw hair today. Like we're gonna have a whole hair day. And that'll be then. I mean, I need it for sure. But not today. And I think about how the jaw like is kind of more of a triangular thing. And then the neck is like a cylinder. So we're really just sticking so much to these like forms. We're not kind of deviating from drawing basic forms. But, you know, also with boxes, it's like tricky to make sure that we're not like just making everything on this like flat surface, because the skull and the face, it's like, it's not just a box, it's like all very rounded. So we want to be mindful. Like doing that like kind of like little paper thing where the paper is like bending around a sphere, like that can be helpful. So this is a great like other exercise you can do, just like drawing faces. Like using cubes like this. Drawing different faces. Like if I want to make this like just maybe a more shoujo face, I would have like less of a neck. And I'd like maybe have the eyes bigger. I want to think about like where the hairline is gonna be, but I'm not really drawing hair on these characters. Although, honestly, I think she could probably have her nose up a little higher here. Yeah, there we go. We wouldn't really see too much of that. We'd see more of the upper teeth. More of the chompers. Get to the chompers. That's the thing with guidelines, it's like you just want your guidelines to work for you and not to try and conform to your guidelines. If they're not working for you, just like think about how you want to like innovate that to like make better sense for you. So it's like if I want to like think about like popping this shape out so it's more rounded so it works better for me, that actually would probably work better for me to consider doing, you know, as I'm drawing. So it's like instead of drawing on this flat surface, I'm actually like imagining I'm drawing on this surface here and popping it out. So then when I'm drawing like my nose, you know, it's drawing along here. And then my eyes looking down. It's actually probably a good idea. I like to think about the connection between the eyes and the mouth, you know, kind of like a faceplate. That helps me a lot. I always draw a little like sphere for the nose. I think there's a lot of nose drawing methods. I saw one guy yesterday who's like, a nose is just like a triangle like this. And I'm like, that's cool. That's true. And then he's like, and then you put these little thingies on the side of it. And then I'm like, okay, you're losing me, buddy. Like, either make it one big shape or don't. I don't know. I like to like just have one big container shape and then be like, okay, this is the side that I'm drawing. And then this is where my thingy is. And then my underside is here. So like when I draw the underside, that's where it is. So that way, you know, and then that's that nostril here. So that way, like, I'm just keeping things one shape. One overall shape, so that way I don't, like, start to get confused. Like, drawing too many sub-shapes too early on. Like with this nose, like, you know, I'm drawing this line. So the black lines are not the lines that get drawn. And then that's that line. And then that's that underline, and then that's this line. So really thinking about how that basic geometry creates that shape. We can't see these guys. These would be like the back of the head if I was just gonna keep this perspective. I like this like kind of scaffolding thing that I'm doing. Like that's kind of helpful. See, when we have these like really extreme angles, then it's like, you know, more tricky because like we have to really think about things from like a whole different angle of approaching it. So it gets tricky. Yeah, these angles, man, that's something that I need to practice for sure. The scaffolding thing was kind of helping me, and now it's kind of like becoming its own kind of confusing thing. I'm bringing the shape out. This is great if you have like one face that you really want to practice consistently, but I think it's just great for like turning forms. I don't think we're gonna fill this whole thing up with faces, but we have drawn a whole bunch of faces. We're just going for it. This guy, he needs his, like... You know, we want to think about this as, like... Oh my god, he's got too big of an ear. It's a little better. Anime shoujo face. Oh, yes. Oh, hey, Artin, how are you doing? Hey, Anwa, how are you doing? Oh, I'm really glad, Ayu, that this was helpful. Very glad. Love to help out my fellow artists with all of my years of bumbling around. I love spreading the joy of art. Because, you know, the beauty of it is, like, you could make something that inspires me, that changes my life. Anyone could. That's what I love about art. It's like, the beauty of it comes from everywhere. So we're really paying attention to the mouth. I mean, we could also probably, like, draw some skull people, too. Bridgman kind of stuff is like, it starts like this, and then it, like, they cut into it, like, they cut into the forms, like, some sort of, he likens it to, like, molding, like, if you're, like, getting molding for, like, a door or a table. But he likens it to. It's not bad. Just as long as we're really thinking about the forms moving in perspective, that's all I'm concerned about. That feeling of depth. Yeah, sure. Looking up at the sky. My big old head. That's what she says. There you go. Yeah, you make your circles. Hey, that's where it starts. It starts with the lines. Hope you're having a nice day, Artin, by the way. Hope all's been GG. All's been good. All's been good game. Alright. Yeah, I feel like these tricky angles are just like the most revealing of like everything that's happening. And they get missed because like we just get taught things from the very basic angles, and then it's like really easy to like not have like as much ease with interpreting the head at like really crazy angles. And it's like not even that it's really crazy, we just don't understand how the forms are forms, that's all. It's like seeing everything from like the front, then the 3/4, and then the side. Like we're missing the under, the front, the 3/4, and then the side. And we're missing the crazy, like, well, what does it look like up? well, what does it look like down? You know? Like, up and down are very important positions as well, so... Alright, let me see where we're at. I think I'll draw a few more heads, and then we're gonna boogie shoogie. This was really fun. I had a really good time with you guys. I feel like I learned something here today. It's always a South Park quote. I learned something. I need that as like a soundbite. I'm gonna spend these last bunch of them just drawing skulls. Because we've drawn faces, and that's great. That's nice. That's what we want. But skulls, man, that's the beginnings of all of it. So we got our cranium, we got our top teeth, and then our jaw. And then there's no ear. There's no ear. Oh man, we used up all of our juice, all of our music juice. We've got to reinstate the music juice. I actually can't remember what the skull eyes exactly look like. I should look it up. I should look that up. Well. 4 a.m. we slept in the evening. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's tough when you take a nap and then you can't go back to sleep. Like I was there like last week. I did that and I was up very late because my sleep just got all funky. So I feel your pain. But you know, if you can enjoy staying up, I feel like that helps. Like if you can feel like you like did something satisfying for yourself, that usually helps to make it a little bit easier to have to endure it. Like if you just are like, I hate having stayed up, you know, that's gonna be rough when you wake up, because you're gonna wake up feeling that still. Trust me. The way you go to bed is often the way you wake up. Pro tip. So, you know, the more you can like just be like, you know what, I'm gonna enjoy myself, I'm gonna like draw something satisfying, you know, I'm going to read some fan fiction, I don't know, you know, whatever you do. Maybe don't play like a crazy video game. Like sometimes I'm like half tempted to like play some Resident Evil Mercenaries like before bed, and I know that would probably be bad for me, so I don't. It's like, that's a little too much stimulation for that time of night, but... Oh man, I should probably get a little bit more music here for the end of this, but... So I'm not even like doing the most anatomically like correct skulls, but I'm still thinking about like the anatomy as we were like drawing it and all that. Like we can get into an anatomically correct skulls eventually. Just I'm kind of more just thinking about the very basics. Kind of maybe more drawing these in like the non-realistic sort of way. that one might draw them. But I think it's easier when you do skulls to kind of think about like the what should I call it, the teeth is kind of wrapping and bending around. Okay. We'll make this the last song. Or I have more day to dizzle beyond our stream, unfortunately. I feel like if my college figure drawing teacher saw me drawing skulls like this, she would, I don't know what she would say. Maybe she'd be proud of me, you know, for having this level of comprehension. Maybe she would scold me. We don't really know. I can never know what to expect from anybody. She'd be like, Alex, this is very good. Alex, these are all wrong. I don't know. She would call me Alex. It took her a while to figure out my name was Lexi, even though like everyone literally called me Lexi. I love that woman. Then when she figured out my name was Lexi, she would call me Loxy. Loxy. She's a riot. I love her. She was so passionate about figure drawing, man, so I can see how, like, that rubbed off on me a little bit. Cause, like, dang it, if that woman wasn't, like, the most, like, passionate freaking person. Like, she, like, ate, slept, breathed it. Like, oh my gosh, she, like, loved this shit. And, like, honestly, same. So... See, that's what I love about this box exercise. You can, like, just totally utilize it to, like, do some of this kind of stuff. It's great. Yeah, actually drawing the skulls is, like, a kind of, like, unsung hero over here, honestly. Yeah, Skeletor. Alright, one more skull, and then we're gonna wrap it up for today. One more skelly friend. We're gonna have him opening up his mouth. Yeah, haha. Yeah, that's about correct. So the top teeth, they don't move unless the head's tilting back. That's the kind of that's one of these things. We'll have a whole day on like how heads move and don't move and all that stuff. Keep us honest. Keep us creating our mechanics believably. Excuse me. Oh, I gotcha. This song's called Coffee Break. you go. There he is. For better or for worse, we've kind of figured out this guy. There we go. So, there we go. Still some things off about this dude, but whatever. You know what? YOLO. I don't have an actual anatomic skull with me anymore. So I gotta find something. I used to. For some reason my ex had one. he didn't draw shit. No, he did. Just not like this. He didn't like use it. I mean, he did at one point. And then I just used it, so it was good for me. But I don't have one of those anymore, so I need to buy one again. For moments like this, so I can just have it next to me. Recite, Hamlet, all that stuff. Alright. Cool. Studies. Let's just put it on my desktop. Great. Alright, y'all. This is super fun. I had a great time. We drew lots of heads. We did lots of studying today. 'Twas very good, very fruitful. I learned lots. I hope that y'all were able to glean something decent from this as well. Yeah, glean good tips and stuff, because I think that we really did a nice job of like kind of talking about just best practices and practice techniques too, so things to kind of grow off of. This is super duper fun, so I hope you guys have a really great rest of your day. I will see you Friday. We're gonna do this again Friday. I'm gonna put it on the schedule, and I will see you then. I'm not sure what we'll draw yet, but we will. Yeah, thanks. It was nice talking to you too. Oh, yeah, I'm never gonna forget Loxy. It's like, it's like I kind of wish he went back to Alex after that, but whatever.